record to the class. Yay! Hello,
Okay.
everyone, and welcome. My name is Paige Lussier Johnson, and this is the Heart as a Compass Zoom interview series. And for those of you that have been following me for a while, I started doing my interview series on Blog Talk Radio in 2005. Took some breaks off, years, months here and there. As technology has changed, I've opened up to this wonderful Zoom platform. And the guest for today is Elaine Soucie, who is actually a local. This is exciting because most of my friends are all over the planet, and all of my spiritual vibe is kind of scattered amongst the globe. And I just recently found, actually reconnected to a local spiritual person, and she and I have met, and we have wonderful plans for our community. So it's just so exciting to kind of have that 3D and 5D starting to mix and match and come online here. For those of you that don't know, this interview series is about following your intuitive guidance. It's about using your heart as a compass, so that way we can not only use our life in its best and right path, but also that we can inspire others to do the same. And I am very inspired and honored to have our guest on today. I love to share stories how the universe works. So a couple years ago, when I was just starting to channel, and I was not necessarily scared of it, I just didn't know how to ground in my body entirely. And so I was kind of reaching out. I found Life Path Fellowship, which is here in Jaffrey. And I went to one or two of the services. And after that, it was like a catalyst. My channeling really started to come in. Everything kind of started to click place. But I kind of just didn't really connect again until a couple of months ago, when I was trying to get my Zoom back up. I reached out to Elaine. The interview kind of fell through. And then recently we've connected, and it's been brilliant. And I think that sometimes that happens in life, where you've got soul path people that you need to meet. But sometimes the timing's not quite just right. But when it is, boy, it is. And so what I love to do on this interview series is I feel, as someone who has gone through this spiritual journey, I started when I was very young, when there was no one to talk about it, kind of following through. And there are so many people waking up right now, and we need each other. And I love collecting people's stories of their spiritual journey. And so, Elaine, I'd love it if I can pass the mic over to you and not only tell me a little bit about who you are, but also what brought you here. Tell us your story, because it's so beautiful.
Thank you so much, Paige. It was nice being here, and thank you for the opportunity. Where do I begin? Actually, I could go all the way back, but you don't want to go all the way back. I mean, it's a long way for me. So let's just say fast forward to maybe 20, 30 years ago. Yeah. By that time, I had already gone through college, gone through my first career. I was a teacher, but I always liked teaching the kids who needed extra, because for some reason, I always knew what they needed, and I always knew what students didn't understand. So I could see it in their face, and I could understand the whole deal. And so I was using my left brain and my right brain at the same time, because I was teaching chem and bio. And so I was definitely using the analytical part, but oh my, I really never quite fit in with all of the rest of the science people, because I was a little different. And now I understand why, but I didn't then.
Mm.
And when it was time for me to take very early retirement, which I did as early as I possibly could, one of my colleagues said to me, and I didn't understand it even then, he said, what I'm going to miss, Elaine, he said, is not your, he didn't say intuitive, and it just left me, but the inspiration, the ability to go beyond the surface of a problem and really get to the root of it. He said, that's what I'm really going to miss. And I thought, can't everybody do that? You know, when they're talking up here, I'd go down here. I thought that was normal.
Mm.
And I found out as I progressed from that, and I did other things after I retired from, and I'm still not really retired, and I don't think I'll ever be. I did other things, but it always involved people, and it always involved a heart-to-heart kind of center. And I realized even way back when I was in college, and I had gone to an all-women's Catholic college, and this is only important because I was made to take both philosophy and theology every semester. Well, either philosophy or theology. So I had 4 courses in theology and 4 courses in philosophy, and they weren't 3 credit, they were 4. And I loved it, especially the last year when they actually offered, we had to take metaphysics. And to think that an all-women's Catholic college would make their students take metaphysics and ethics and the study of truth and world religions, it broadened me so that that was the beginning back then. And then fast forward now, many, many, many years later, and I found myself in the rooms of Al-Anon. And my husband had a disease, and I needed help. And so, and it is truly a spiritual program. And I found the link finally with my spirituality, because I had been searching and I had been a seeker from Catholicism, and no, it didn't quite fit right with me. And so I tried something else, and no, it didn't quite fit right. And then I finally, just before I retired, I found Unitarian Universalist, and I became a lay minister there. And then I moved to New Hampshire, and it was after that, and that was way back in 20 years ago. Fast forward a number of years, and that's when I went into Al-Anon, and things started to connect. And I found one of my early spiritual teachers, and it was on tarot, but it was also on you name it, because I spent 3 hours with her every week for a year. And I then took Reiki 1, Reiki 2, master teacher. I kept going. I studied with a shaman for 3-4 years. I'm old. Then I kept taking, I took a course in Introduction to Spiritualism. And I thought, oh my. And I didn't at the time know that I could do anything. And I didn't know that when I went to a spiritualist congregation and I ended up being the piano player, a couple of the guest ministers said, "You need to be up here." And I thought, huh? And so that evolved. And then I figured it out and I took more courses. I was ordained 9 years ago, and kind of the rest is history. Yeah, I do mediumship. I do channeling. I teach channeling. And then again, it opened even further. I took a QHHT course with Dolores Cannon's daughter. And then I took level 2, and I found out more about how the body is just, we have messages. Everything that happens in the body is a message. And if we don't listen to our soft voice, then the soft voice gets louder. And when it gets really loud, that's when something happens physically in us. And that's a real like shout from spirit, from our guidance team, that, hey, look at this, we want you to look at this. Something's out of balance. So anyway, that's it. I'm pastor of Life Path Fellowship in Jaffrey, New Hampshire. And I love doing QHHT sessions. One session will change a life. It's a pivotal point for many, because there's so many.
First of all, not many people.
For those of you who go ahead.
Yeah, not everybody knows who Dolores Cannon is. You should Google her if you don't. But can you kind of give a backdrop to Dolores Cannon and to the QHHT? Because it's beautiful.
Yeah. Dolores Cannon she passed in 2014, a regressionist. Her husband was a hypnotist. Her work compendium was over a 40-year period. She just started doing regular hypnosis, and then, like for smoking cessation and that, and then it morphed into regression for different, when did things start? And then over time, she expanded, and she realized that she got people so deep that she was talking, and she wasn't talking to, during hypnosis, you can talk, okay? Mm-hmm. You can actually have a conversation with the facilitator, and I do this. And so she wasn't talking to the individual anymore. She was talking to another being, or to the subconscious, which she called, but we can call it the higher self or the oversoul, whatever. And so during a QHHT session, the client comes in with a number of questions pertaining to their life that they wish to have answered. And the oversoul, the higher self, whatever you want to call it, sometimes they call themselves the collective. And they refer to themselves as we. Very seldom do they, give a name, because, and then frequently I will know that I'm talking with the higher self, because they will refer to the individual as she or he in the third person. So it's incredible. And then there is a healing that takes place during this long session. And it is a long session. And I ask that the higher self do a body scan. And in the body scan, if they'll say, okay, let's say they find something with the ears. So, well, when did that start? Why did that start? what was occurring in his or her life, when it began, because usually there's a connection. And what was the person supposed to learn from this? Because all of these physical things, manifestations, are also for us to learn. For example, with the ears, usually there was something that he or she didn't want to hear that was going on at the time. And so has she or he learned the lesson yet? And if they have, they don't need that, do they? And so they can go out and yeah, I've seen miracles. I just got a text, in fact, was it yesterday, the day before, from a client who I saw last week who had PTSD from 3 tours in Iraq. And there were other things. And he texted me to thank me and to say that the QHHT session was definitely a pivotal point in his life.
Ooh, wow.
And, like I went, oh, and I just got the chills again, thinking about it. To see what he looked like and what his eyes and his face looked like and how he left versus how he presented when he came. I just feel so honored to be the facilitator. And that's all I am, because each of us has the capacity to heal ourselves. Whether you talk about little me, which is this physical self in this suit of clothes, okay, which I call the body, or big me, okay, which is our spiritual and the whole thing.
Yeah.
So, whoa, yeah, we heal ourselves.
And correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not 100% sure, but I believe Dolores Cannon was one of the first people who really started doing past lives and having documented research, because when she was doing her hypnosis, this was what drew me to her, was that she was doing hypnosis and then she realized she was talking to someone from a different time. And she didn't believe it at the time, but then she started doing research and was actually able to find this person in a small village in Ireland that actually lived and existed, connected to a person in the now moment so many years later. And it's that kind of science fiction world of proof that when I started, I remember reading about her and learning about her. And that was the part that I found brilliant, because it was something that we kind of all are like, oh, past lives, we kind of accept it. She paved that foundational for most of us.
Yeah.
And that's where the QHHT comes from, is her journey in that. And I love that.
Yeah, there are 2 people actually who were, it's interesting. There's Dr. Brian Weiss, who is a psychiatrist, who was, it's interesting because the same thing happened with him, with one of his patients. And Dolores was not a medical doctor, but she found the same thing. He also found that there were certain data that he was able to, to just have and to document and to research and to say, yes, this is true. And while he was doing that, because I actually had went to him first, also I'm certified with the Weiss Institute. And then I went to Dolores Cannon, and QHHT stands for Quantum Healing Hypnosis Technique. And what she did was take hypnosis, and instead of going through the whole, there are certain procedures, okay, in hypnosis, and you do step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, etc. And 2010, was the year that I became a hypnotist. So I've been doing regressions for a long time. And 2012, I became certified as a regressionist. 2016 was Dr. Brian Weiss. 2020 was Dolores, QHHT level 121 was Dolores, was QHHT level 2. So I've been doing regressions for a long time. But with Dolores Cannon, she also documented, she was so curious. She documented stuff. She would ask the higher self different questions, and she would get answers that were verifiable. And she developed her own technique, which was different from the standard hypnosis procedure, and it's also copyrighted. And so there's certain protocol that each of the QHHT practitioners follow. Okay. And it's phenomenal. It's absolutely phenomenal. Now, a QHHT session, minimal time is 3 hours. Usually it's 4 to 6. And there's a huge span of time in the beginning, perhaps up to 3 hours, which is just the interview, getting to know each other and going into depth and making connections with your early life and what's going on now and different things that people have never thought about. And then there's a 2-hour span, usually, that's you're under the hypnosis. And during that time, I have the clients bring in a recording app on their phone. And when we get to the good stuff, then I push record on theirs and record on mine, so that when they leave, they'll have documentation of what happened. Okay. There are a couple of reasons for this. Number one, up until probably 2012, 14, around there, people were not aware. When you would go into hypnosis, you would just kind of fall asleep, but not really. All right. But they may not remember anything. Okay. But since then, and it has been my experience out of the dozens of people, incredible number. I think I've had just one who, okay. Usually the left brain is actually just being a kind of observer in what the right brain is doing. Because when I'm talking to the higher self, then it's the right side of the brain that's engaged. When I'm talking to the individual who is re-experiencing a different experience, and I'm saying experience, I am not saying life, because I've had a person be an octopus, and the
different soul
main,
fragments. Yeah.
the purpose of that existence was to realize that a solitary life is worthwhile.
Oh, that's a beautiful sentiment.
Yes, and this was a woman who had spent most of her life by herself, and so that was, and I got the chills just from reading that. Yeah, and so it all depends, and I ask that whatever experience that the client is going to revisit is one that has important information, which deals with the current life and the current time. Okay. And so I've had, all right, for example, person military, okay, was back storming Omaha Beach. All right.
I don't understand the context. Forgive
Okay.
me.
The person who was in the military,
Yeah.
who had 3 tours in Iraq, went back, and the life that he experienced was storming Omaha Beach as a private during World War II.
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
All right. This lifetime, he was born into a family, a military family, both parents.
Mm-hmm.
So again, there were connections, there were reasons why he went to that particular lifetime.
Mm.
Do you see what I'm saying?
I do. It's amazing. And
It is absolutely incredible, absolutely incredible. And then when we get to the part of healing or different parts of the body that there are difficulties with, usually if it's, anything that has to do with locomotion in your legs or something like that, or
Mhm.
feet, or whatever, we'll talk about it first before we do the body scan, in the interview part. But generally there's something that they don't want to walk into. They're holding back.
Mm.
They're really holding back.
Hmm.
Yeah.
The mind-body connection is so beautiful and profound. And
Amazing.
it's just, when I hear these stories, I'm in awe of it.
So am I.
It's the fact that we can live in this beautiful world and these beautiful bodies. It's such a gift to be here. And I just want to take a moment right now to honor you, because you have been on this journey and you have been here grounding in this energy for so many of us. And you've been doing it quietly and beautifully. And I just want to thank you as someone on this soul journey. Thank you for being here and leading the way and being a seeker and grounding in this energy as we all are slowly kind of rising up. It's because of you and people like you why this world, while we're all starting to connect the dots. And so I just want to take a second, because you're giving me your timeline. You're like 2010, and I'm going, whoa, 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 that's amazing. The fact that you were on this journey and connecting these dots, it's so beautiful. And that's a testament to you on your soul mission and your soul journey. And I just want to, anyone that lives anywhere near Jaffrey, New Hampshire, should come to Life Path Fellowship and see where Elaine has set up her studio. It's small and exquisite. There are crystals that are this big that have stories to tell. There are drums. There are so many beautiful, the energy is vibrant. It's beautiful. She has a crystal bed. And I haven't been able to participate in the QHHT, though I want to so much so. But I was able to take advantage of your crystal bed therapy, which I know you got way before it was hype and cool, first of all. So I want to acknowledge that. I didn't even know it was in Jaffrey. My friend Michelle, who lives in Florida, that I know through a school of wisdom from an Argentinian, my spiritual mentor is from Argentina and Italy. So there's all these and I was looking big. I was like, where would I find a crystal bed? And I was Googling it. And then I walked in to meet Elaine probably less than a week later. And that's how, it's a funny story of the universe, how it brings things to you. And I'm like, is that a crystal bed? And she's like, oh yeah, I've had this since 2013 or whenever it was. So you've been on the cutting edge of this for so long, and the information and the wisdom that you have is phenomenal. And after I did the crystal bed experience with you, I felt I had this beautiful spiritual journey where when I dream, and when I go into deep places with my guides, they take me on the water. And I can usually tell where I am in my life, if it's choppy waters or smooth sailings or split paths. So that's why my guides have been communicating to me with water for so long. And when I went on her crystal bed, there I was in the water. And as I was there, I was going down and all these animals were coming out to greet me, and they were healing the water inside of me. And it was this beautiful meditation that I had. And when I finished, Elaine looks at me and she's like, you have to take a picture. You have to look at your eyes. And I was like, okay. And I looked in the mirror, my eyes had changed color almost. They went from like a dark brown before to this beautiful light brown. I can't promise I'm going to keep my profile picture forever on Facebook, but my profile picture on Facebook is actually right after I did the crystal bed with Elaine. And it was, I looked in the mirror and it was like, oh my gosh, I was so much lighter. I was so much brighter. And that was in one session. And you have so many cool, like her events that she has at the Life Path Fellowship are amazing. She has psychic readers that come in the first Saturday of every month.
This Saturday, I'll be doing readings.
Yep. And so, and she has guest lectures and guest artists. So if you're anywhere in the Monadnock area, Keene, New Hampshire, Jaffrey, New Hampshire, Peterborough, New Hampshire, if you're within an hour drive, you should be checking out this space because it's a gem. It's an absolute gem. Can you tell us a little bit more about Life Path Fellowship and what your mission is there and here?
I am the pastor of Life Path Fellowship, which is a multi-denominational facility. It's a healing facility with a spiritualist basis. Okay, so we don't care. It's basically mystical, and there's a service every Sunday which has a spiritualist base, but there's also channeling that goes on. There's all kinds of stuff. And it's really non-denominational of that part. And then every Wednesday I do a guided meditation online on my Facebook page. And then from 6:30 to 7, and then from 7 to 8, there is healing. And then I do spiritual teaching. Then once a month, I facilitate a crystal bowl sound bath, which is, yeah. And I have all the chakras, and I have a huge Om bowl, which was used by another healer. It's phenomenal. And then, we do so much. I do spiritual counseling, but my spiritual counseling is also teaching, because it's teaching about yourself. You learn more about yourself and who you are. And at the end of it, I always do energy work. And my license plate is energy work.
I noticed that when I left. I've seen you drive around, Jaffrey, and I've seen that license plate. I'm like, who is that? And then I walked out after I met you the other day, and I saw that license plate and I started laughing. I was like, of course, thank you, Spirit, for showing me and introducing me to this person, because every time I've been behind you, I'm like, beep, beep, who is that?
Yes. And so that's how I, complete every session. And the sessions that I give, the personal sessions one-on-one, are an hour in length. And the fee that I ask is whatever that person makes per hour, because I think my time is the same as anybody else's time, because I don't think anyone is different.
Wow.
Okay, as far as that's concerned.
And your psychic readings, I mean, the price for that is, tell them, you guys aren't going to believe it.
No, you do.
So the first Saturday of every month, as a service to the community, Elaine has different healers come in, and the price is $25. It's $12 for the medium, $12 for Life Path Fellowship, and $1 for the person who's working at the door.
Yeah.
And that's, I mean, that's amazing. And some of the people, I'm honored, I'm very honored and excited and nervous to tell the honest truth, that I'm going to be joining on the Saturday programs as well. But the people that I'm so honored, because when you were telling me about, not only do you offer your time to do it, but there are others that you were telling me about. It just sounds amazing. It's a gift, really. It's really, I think a lot of times now, new agey is kind of becoming cool, and there's like stylish yoga pants, and it's kind of becoming, and that's not what you are. And that's one reason why I connect with you, and I love what you're doing, because you're very grounded and you understand that this is a mission for everyone on this planet. And so $25 to receive like a psychic channeling through a healer is, you can't get that anywhere. And the fact, when she told me the price, I was like, and she's like, are you interested? I'm like, yeah, that's fine. That sounds great. But that's what you do. And that's what you're in service of. And the programming that you're doing, you have so many wonderful people and healers that come in to do these fun workshops, arts and crafts. I know this is going to be recorded in May 31st. So we're coming into the month of June. If you're watching this on the replay after June, I apologize, but definitely check out on Facebook. It's at the Life Path Fellowship on Facebook. You could also go to Elaine's website, which is ElaineSoucie.com.
Yep.
Yep.
And also my Facebook page.
Yep, and her Facebook page. And so there are, and if you are watching this later and you're, reach out to me if you need to get connected, absolutely. But I think you should tell everybody about some of the programming that you have coming up, because you've got this on your pink sheet that you've got. We can read some of it that you've got coming up, but the programming you have at this little tiny space in Jaffrey, New Hampshire, who would think that it's here?
But it is. And I've been here, it's going on, let me think, 7 years. And this was not the first place. But I have to tell people that when you're on your path, the path opens up for you. And when you're trying to force solutions and you feel as though you're knocking your head against the wall all the time.
Been there, I've got the bump to prove it.
So have we all. That's not it. That's not it. But if there's any advice I could give, is to follow your intuition. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to be easy, because the choices that we make in life, and all of the choices, I remember the first time I heard this years and years ago, was it's either love or fear. And I thought, nah, that can't be. But when you really think about it, every choice throughout the day is love or fear. Even how we go to work or how we get from point A to point B. And you might say, well, it's because it's a known route. Well, why don't you deviate? Why don't you try something new?
Yeah. And
again, follow that little teeny voice, or that nudge that says, stop here, or listen to that song that you said, oh, and it's real. It's absolutely real. And each of us has abilities, and I like to call them abilities rather than gifts, because when we call them gifts, somebody, like, I'm not special. I have my own set, and you have your own set, and we each have our own sets. Now, most of us have squelched it down. And we've been taught to squelch it. We've been taught not to listen. We've been taught not to feel. We've been taught not to speak. We've been taught a lot. And I've figured out that a lot of our adulthood is spent unlearning
Yeah, I
what
agree with
we're
that.
taught and then reassessing and culling out the bits that we want to keep. And we say, yes, this is important. And then we say, no, I don't want that. That doesn't seem right with me right now. And
Mm,
so, yeah, it's hard to let go. It's hard to let go of a lot. But in order to open new doors,
mhm.
letting go is very important.
Yes. Yep.
Mhm.
Yep. Love or fear. And the thing that I would add to that too is that fear and excitement can sometimes feel the same in your body. And I didn't understand that for a long time. I was always just afraid when I probably should have just been excited. And I said no to a lot of opportunities because I was afraid of them. And I didn't know what they were in my body. And I didn't know how to
Process them.
process the information. And I think that that's one of the things in when it comes to listening to your intuitive guidance is kind of like when you very started the conversation today about how our body gives us physical cues, right? So if we can start to feel it in our bodies, like where's that a yes, where's that a no, it can help us. And we often think that we have to live in our heads or above, but really if we can be grounded, and that's another thing, like after the crystal bed therapy with you, you're like, are you grounded? And I actually felt very grounded when I left you. I think that I definitely was spiritual, I was open, I was expanded, but I felt very grounded. And I think that's because I've spent so many years not grounded that as the last 10 years, I've been spending a lot of time trying to ground into my body to know what that means. Because oftentimes we just want to check out. We're like, hey, it's easier to float. But if we're in our body and we can be communicating with our bodies, we can understand a lot more about what's happening in our life right now. Do you have any advice about listening to your body since you work with it so much?
Don't ignore it.
Mm, yeah.
Many times, how many times if we have a headache or an ache or a pain, we'll say, we'll just push through it and we'll just ignore it. But basically, it's a message that's coming to us. Is it, are we doing too much? If we have aches in our neck or shoulders, are we shouldering too much responsibility? I know it sounds ridiculously simple, but it's so true.
Yeah.
Okay. And if we're like this all the time because, we're just anxious or this or that, just, we're out of balance.
Hmm.
Listen to our bodies and we're having this physical experience.
Mm-hmm.
We're meant to be grounded, and we can call in energy from both universal energy, but we can also draw up energy from earth energy. Oh yeah, we can do both.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
so right now each of us is having a physical experience. So let's enjoy it. We are meant to be healthy. We are meant to be whole. We are whole, and we are meant to live joyous lives.
I love that. So true too. And it's simple, but it's beautiful.
Yeah, we are meant to be healthy. We are not meant to have to, go to the doctors all the time or take supplements or we are meant to be healthy, completely healthy. And way into our really long-lived ages, kind of like as I get older and older and older. And I think, my goodness, am I going to slow down? But I have so much energy. It's amazing.
To give. And I think that's the thing, is I think that I really feel from you that you've been paving this way for so many, that you're just getting started, really, because it's like you're the person who's been walking up the mountain and making the trail. And you've kind of been sitting up there with us, and the rest of us are kind of like, oh, hey, like me driving by the mountain. Hey, is that a path? I think I'm going to stop by there. And then 3 weeks later, maybe I'll walk up a little bit. And you walk up halfway. Eventually, we're going to get there. And I think that's one metaphor my spiritual teacher gave me, is that we're all on the spiritual journey together, and we're all just in different phases of the path. And we're just, whoever's a little bit ahead puts their hand back, and that's, how we assist. And I think that that's exactly what you're saying. That's exactly.
I talk of it at different points,
Yes.
because if you say, even like if you use a ladder as a reference point, then I'm ahead of you. And no. We're at the right point where we're supposed to be at the present time. And so we are unfolding, we are growing, we are given opportunities to learn all day long, every single day. Every choice is an opportunity to learn. Every boulder that we meet, every opposition to what we want, it's an opportunity for us to learn. Whether or not we learn it is also our choice, because we have free will. And sometimes we will be given opportunities to learn certain things. And it is my truth that we chose our challenges prior to incarnating here. So it seems like some of us have chosen very challenging challenges. And sometimes I wonder, oh my goodness, I was a little bit over exertive or whatever, when I chose this. Oh, yes. But it seems that we're gently given our opportunities that we chose for our challenges initially. And as we don't learn, then those challenges become a little bit more direct, shall we say, and a little bit heavier, until we feel as if we've been hit on the side of the head with a 2x4 saying, are you gonna learn it now? How's this one?
Yep.
So, yeah. So that's when it comes into the body.
Yes. Yep. Well, it's so interesting. My computer has been in this weird phase today, where this morning I was prepping to get set up today. And then I looked down, the time was 10:30, and then I looked back up and the time was 11:01. And I just looked down, it was 11:01, and my clock kept saying like 11:01. I was like, no. And then I just looked down and it said 11:51. So time is a little silly right now. My computer's acting a little wonky. There's a lot of energy. So at the 10-minute mark before our show closes, I would like to just take a moment and ask for the people that are watching this, for the people now and in the replay. Do you have any wisdom or guidance for us that we can take away from our experience and our time with you today?
Are you asking them or me?
I'm asking you, but if any online, they can.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure by the question. Follow your heart.
Beautiful.
See, our heart never leads us astray. And follow the inner voice. Now, the inner voice is not the one with the shoulds, not the one that berates us or condemns our actions or words or anything. It's the one, the soft, gentle one that guides, that nourishes, that it's our mentor, basically. okay? That is just a gentle, if they provide an opportunity, but it's never going to be no, you shouldn't have done that, or blah, 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 blah. That's ego. That's no. Okay. But follow your heart, whatever it is, and you'll never go wrong.
I agree. I agree so much. And as I feel that we are awakening and we're trying to create with our thoughts and our feelings and our vibrations
We
a
are.
new earth. What for those people that are just waking up, they're just starting to find this random live video on Facebook or on YouTube, and they're starting to connect the dots and the pieces. How can we create a better world together?
Turn off the news.
Yes, the energy in it.
Seek peace in your heart. And turn off anything that is violent. See, choose peace, because each of us needs to have peace within before we can have peace out there. And so in order to want to have a kinder, gentler environment and nation and world, we have to be kinder and gentler and more loving. And the first place to be that is to love thyself. That is paramount. And self-care is not selfish.
No.
It's required.
Yeah.
And self-care also includes what we put into our body, what we eat. And if we treat our body like garbage, we're going to put in garbage. Think about it. Yep. From boxed junk, from fast foods, from whatever. And if we really want to treat our bodies with care and nurture our bodies, then it's by where we go. It's by who our friends are. It's by what we watch. Do we watch shoot 'em up and kill and mayhem, or do we watch gentle, kind, loving things on television? I mean, truly, or do we not watch television at all?
Right.
I mean, think about it. What kind of music do we want to listen to? See, that is all of the stimulation. Those are all the choices that we make, which nourish us. And how do we wish to nourish ourselves?
I love that. That's beautiful, beautiful advice. Oh, I am so honored to have you in my life, to have met you, to reconnected with you, to have you on this Zoom interview series. Recap for anyone who's watching how they can get in touch with you.
Okay, they can get in touch with me through Facebook, Elaine Soucie. They can get in touch with me through elainesoucie.com, my website, on Messenger, or they can text me at 603-496-7410. And anyone who decides to have a QHHT session, if you're within shooting distance, I would recommend it. If not, go to qhhtofficial.com and find a practitioner near you. It's a life-changing experience. It truly, it's amazing. And so thank you so much, Paige, for having me on today.
And if you're watching this and you're in the area, like Jaffrey, New Hampshire, there is a hidden gem there, Life Path Fellowship. There's the crystal beds. There's your weekly services at 1 o'clock, which I know that you also stream. Sometimes, not all, you did a lot during COVID. So there's a wonderful ways to get connected, workshops, sound baths. I'm going to be doing a cosmic improv workshop soon.
Yes, June 10th, 7 o'clock at Life Path.
Yes, yeah.
It should be so much fun.
Yes, and so there are so many programming, there's so many opportunities to just broaden your horizon, to kind of step out of that comfort zone and to be connected with like-minded souls. And you, my dear, are an amazing soul, a vibrant person. We are so blessed to have you on this path, leading the way, and also for inspiring and helping so many of us on our own journeys. And I would like to thank you and thank our spirits and guides for being here today for this wonderful interview. Please check out Elaine's Facebook page. Now, if you want to be friends with her, she has a lot of friend requests. I've seen it. So you might want to write her a message, say you saw her on the Zoom interview with Paige, just so that she approves you. She's got so many friend requests. She showed me. I started laughing. I was like, my golly.
Yeah, usually, unless there are 100 or more mutual friends, I don't, because there are too many.
So if you're watching this and then you want to be friends with Elaine, that's fine. Just write a little message so she knows that we sent you, that you're legit. That being said, Life Path Fellowship is right here in Jaffrey, New Hampshire. It's for those of you that are local, Old Calls Garden.
16 Calls Farm Road.
16 Falls Farm Road. It's beautiful, and there are so many events that she does so lovingly and prepares that there's so much for you to participate in here. It has been my honor. It has been my pleasure. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you so much for inviting me. I truly appreciate this opportunity. And for any of you, if I can help in any way, please reach out to me.
Absolutely. For those of you that are watching, next week, we are going to be interviewing Julie Gauthier, and on July 6th, back to our normal Monday rotations. And we have new people coming up. If you want to be on the show or if you have any questions, please reach out to me. Facebook.com/Love&Light, spelled LUVNL88. My healing and coaching Facebook page. You could also be my friend, write me a message, Paige Lussier Johnson on Facebook. I'm on Instagram, I'm on YouTube. Like, subscribe, all of that fun stuff. Blessings to you, Elaine. Thank you so much for being a part with us today. And to all of my friends signing off, have a beautiful and blessed day.
Namaste.
Love and light.